When we first moved into that duplex in West Pittston, Pennsylvania in 1973, I thought we were finally getting a good break. Me, my husband Jack, and our four girls, we finally had a home we could grow into. It was nothing fancy, just an old duplex built in the late 1800s with creaky floors and faded wallpaper. I told myself the odd smells and cold spots were just from the house's age. But then, things started to happen that we couldn't explain. At first, it was so small you'd think we were just clumsy. Tools went missing, only to reappear in strange places. Water stains would form on the walls, spreading like veins, even after we repainted. At night, I would hear faint sounds in the walls, like rats, but there were no rats. And then came the smell. That awful, rotting smell, like spoiled meat or sulfur, filling the rooms at random. No plumbing problem ever explained it. Then the sounds grew louder. We heard footsteps on the stairs when everyone was in bed. I would hear someone call my name in the middle of the night, a whisper, right in my ear. But no one was there. I remember lying in bed one night and hearing a low growl under the bed. Jack heard it too. He leapt up, thinking it was the dog. But the dog was locked in the kitchen, at the door. As months turned into years, the presence in the house grew bolder. It started banging on the walls, shaking picture frames until they fell. One night, we heard what sounded like a dozen people running up and down the stairs. When Jack opened the door, the hallway was empty, but the sound kept going. That's when we realized whatever was in this house wasn't just playing with us. It was trying to frighten us. Then it started touching us. I woke one night to feel a hand gripping my ankle and pulling me off the bed. My husband swore something climbed into bed with him, heavy enough to sink the mattress. And then came the worst part, the attacks on our children. Our oldest said she woke to find a dark shape standing over her bed, pressing on her chest. Another time, one of the girls came screaming into our room, saying something had whispered her name and laughed right in her ear. We called priests. We called pastors. We had the house blessed. And then came the night that finally broke me. I was sitting alone in the kitchen, late at night. The house was silent. Not even the hum of the fridge seemed to exist. It felt like the whole place was holding its breath. Then, from somewhere deep in the hallway, I heard it. A voice. Not loud, not whispering, just a low, guttural sound that dragged my name out slowly, like it enjoyed saying it. My skin went cold. The air felt thick, like I was underwater. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't even swallow. Then I saw it. The doorway to the kitchen went completely black, darker than shadow, as if the night outside had stepped inside. It stretched up to the ceiling, too tall to be human, its edges writhing like smoke. There was no face, no features, just a presence that somehow felt aware of me. It started to move. Not walk, glide, smooth and silent, its head tilting in a slow, impossible angle as if it was studying me. The lights above flickered, and a sharp smell of burnt hair filled the room. I finally managed to scream, the sound tearing out of me, raw and broken. My husband Jack crashed out of the bedroom, calling my name, but when he burst into the kitchen, the doorway was empty. The lights were steady again, the smell was gone. We called priests, we called pastors. We had the house blessed over and over. Each time the activity stopped for a little while. But then it came back, angrier than before. The smells grew worse, the banging louder. One night, the whole house vibrated, not like a truck passing by, but like the walls themselves were trying to shake us loose. That was when we called Ed and Lorraine Warren, the famous paranormal investigators. They came, they blessed the house, they performed prayers, and even an exorcism. The activity stopped for a time, long enough for us to breathe again. But when I look back, I remember the last night in that house, standing in the hallway before we finally moved out. The air was heavy, still, like the whole house was holding its breath. And then I heard it, that same growl, deep and wet, coming from the basement. I turned, looked down the stairs, and saw two glowing red eyes staring back at me. I grabbed my kids, grabbed whatever I could carry, and we left for good.